Hey guys, welcome to 6ixvoices, a brand new 6ixhappening podcast. So far, we've just been displaying our writing on our blog. Here, we'll be discussing various topics regarding the largest city in Canada and showcasing our unique personalities. We look forward to bringing listeners our viewpoints on all topics surrounding the Six. At times, there will be guest speakers as well, so be sure to tune into each episode whenever possible. Looking forward to bringing you guys nothing but the best 6ixhappening content for years to come. Welcome to another 6ixhappening chat. And I'm chatting with Vic today, and it should be a pretty cool chat. How's it going, Vic?
I'm going good, man. I'm going good. How are you?
I'm great. It's nice to hear from you, and how's the week been?
The week's been pretty good, pretty good. Just chill. The usual stuff, working, all that good stuff.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, man, it's important to check in on people, especially in these times, right?
Yeah. I was just chatting with a friend earlier. I want to get them on maybe for like the next time as well. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, what's their perspective? Like, what do they specialize in?
They're what is it called? They do digital marketing, but they're also doing like a lot of mental health stuff, and so I figure it's good to like connect, just to get different perspectives of like how people are dealing and shit, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of, if you think about it, everyone has their own way of like kind of dealing with this now, right? I'm talking about just like COVID, the way it's going, right? Because it's taking, first it started with like, it's affecting your health, immune system, and all that. And now it's turning into like, it's affecting how people think, how they're going to adapt to in their lives, in their livelihood. So now it's affecting the mental game.
Yeah. And it's just like now it seems to me that it could be a bit of a blessing and a curse in the sense that like a lot of people had a lot of time to reflect, being in lockdown, being in quarantine, whatever. Or at least I hope so.
Yeah, that's true. Because at the end of the day, like if this hasn't like taught you something in terms of like the benefit, or you didn't really take the time to do positive stuff while you're in this, then I mean you're never gonna do it, right? Because like this was as good a time as any, right? Like having not like a lot of people not being physically at work now, right? Or in these times.
Yeah. Who would have thought, man? The mass exodus from people just doing like, remote work or work from home. It's causing people to just move out of the city. And now rent prices are so low. It's going back to normal to like 1200 for a bachelor.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And the thing is also, it's people are looking at these kind of these prices and thinking, oh, you know what? I better scoop it up now while it's that price. And they have a point in a way, right? But also, it's other people are looking outside the city, right? Or just outside the city, and they're like, oh, you know what? I'll still stick to visiting the city and not really living in it.
Yeah, and honestly, like I feel that vibe, man. I really do, because I love Toronto, but like right now, it's just like a lot of things are kind of like ass backwards.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, directly due to COVID. But I feel like it started before that as well. Huh.
Yeah, and like the strangest thing is like COVID has hindered, but I think it's also helped some industries to like reinvent themselves or just get their shit together.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like now it's a good time. It's never a good time for this to happen, right? But it's taught people how to like adapt, I kind of feel, and kind of like, okay, find other ways to sustain themselves if something like this were ever to happen again, right? God forbid.
Yeah, because like it's been crazy just the last year in general. I think because it's affected so many aspects of people in general. Like mental health, physical health, financial health, right?
Yeah. And, speaking about mental health, actually, the story that I had yesterday that was crazy was Vic and I were going on the bus, actually in the train there, and then there was a person that obviously was disturbed that he started yelling at us and shutting obscenities at us, and it looked like he was about to get physical. I like the way Vic and I handled it. We didn't react. We stood our ground. We didn't back away, but we also were aware of him, and we're just trying to give him his space. But uh, basically, for me, I was trying to control my own emotions and not react to whatever that guy was doing, just because of the fact that, like, what's the point of engaging into that? There's no benefit for us in that, you know.
Yeah.
It just have to be a full ordeal, you know. But it just goes to show you that I guess people like that have always been around, but I'm noticing it a lot more now. Just when you're out and about, and it's a sad thing to see, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely not fun to see somebody, just being in a bad situation and just losing their shit. And I mean, hopefully the guy's all right, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If I were to bet, I'm pretty sure he got into a fight with someone else that night.
Yeah.
Just from the way he was acting.
Yeah, who knows what that is, man? Because the thing is, I find in my experience, they may be like whatever, but they pick up on vibes. Like they're hypersensitive. Because I remember this street fellow. He saw a lady from across the street. I saw her closer, and she was just like looking really tired. Kind of stressed, grumpy, whatever.
Yeah.
This guy took that face as like B word, entitled, whatever.
Wow.
And I just see she's coming back with her groceries. This guy runs across the street. There's traffic. He didn't care. And he goes and he grabs her shit.
What the heck?
And like, she fought him off, and then he just ran off. So it's like, whatever. But it's just like, I found it crazy because I'm just walking away from the scene. But as I see it, it's just like, geez, man, this guy, he caught onto like something that was something else, right? So I think that's why with people of that demographic, I think it's better. It's almost like they speak in energy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of, like, exactly. For example, that guy yesterday, he was just looking for a problem, right? Like, even if we weren't, like, just started saying stuff to us and like looking for a reaction. So once we reacted, then he was gonna do something, you know?
Yeah, because like
pay them no mind or give them no attention, I guess they eventually go away, or they should go away. Not in every case, right?
yeah.
But the thing I was wondering about was, see, something like that, like for example that happened, that incident. Is that do you feel like that's more mental illness or that's drug addiction, or do the two go hand in hand?
They're usually separate but close together in the sense that in a way, in some cases, not all the time, they feed each other, right? So like say somebody has an addiction and they have an anger problem, but it's like when they drink too much or do too much or whatever, they get into trouble, right?
It's fueled by that, pretty much.
Yeah. So like in some cases, be it alcohol or drugs, it can compound stuff that they're already struggling with. Because like honestly, after I was done being like tensed up, I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna sucker punch me. My next thought was like, what must he be going through that he's so frustrated and feels so powerless, right? Like, who knows? I don't know. So I figure, you know what? I'll just give this guy the benefit of the doubt and just pay him no mind.
Yeah, those were my thoughts too. It's kind of like, I actually kind of felt bad for him because he's obviously to be going like on an outburst like that and punching the air, and he was slamming the phone and whatever stuff he was doing, right? Like being physical. Obviously, it's a rough time in that guy's life, right? Like he's obviously reached rock bottom. For me, that's rock bottom. You're doing that. You don't care what people think at that point, right? And then it's like, I feel like that it's almost like a cry for help, you know? Like it's like, oh, like listen to me or look at me. This is what's wrong with me, and like I need someone to take it out on, you know? So but it's at the same time you feel bad, but you're aware that they can cause you harm. So you gotta kind of pay attention as well, you know?
Yeah.
You can't be totally. Well, I mean, what surprised me was that lady that just walked by too, right? Because she was like, oh yeah, there was a lady that just walked by, passed by him, and she acted like nothing. I guess that's how we're getting used to in this city. We're getting used to seeing things like that, right? Where you can just walk by like that.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the time in that sense, like, I'm pretty sure it was like a logical decision in the sense, like, well, you know what? I am old and small. I'm not going to get involved with this. While he's distracted, I'll keep going on my way, right? And I think a bit of that mechanism kind of kicked in for this fellow as well, where, like, he tried to approach, but he saw he was, like, outnumbered and he just kind of backed away and started putting on his show. I'm like, okay. That's where I kind of relaxed a bit because I'm like, okay, at least he's within a distance where if he tries anything, we can react in time.
Exactly. Because when he came in the beginning, he was right behind you, and that's when it startled, right? But even me, when I saw him coming down, I saw him like kind of like agitated already. But he only did that when he saw us talking there, like that bothered him. Like it was like a trigger or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
who
I guess
knows?
necessarily maybe it wasn't even just because it was us. It could have been any two or group of people, you know?
It is what it is.
Yeah, man. But honestly, man, like it's the city needs to help more people like that, you know, because like there's a lot of them nowadays. Even after that, when that happened, when I was like near my station where I live, right? The same time yesterday, this guy came up to me and he goes, "Hey, do you want some liquor, some alcohol? I can give you some alcohol." I was like, "No, I'm okay, man." And he takes out 2 bottles from his like jacket, and I said no, and he starts like chugging the 2 bottles. But you know, he looked like kind of disheveled, right? Like dirty.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is maybe we need to clean up these stations, man. You know what I mean? That's the first thought that came into my mind.
Oh. Like,
But
I don't know what the answer would be, I guess, to touch on that briefly. Like, there's respite shelters popping up all over the city,
yeah,
but, I mean, I've worked with these guys, and the weird thing is they're telling me they don't want to be there either. Because, like, it's a respite, and it's pretty much like as long as you're not killing anybody, then you can stay and sleep. Oh,
true.
we got
So
some
are they
friends.
like, are they like, is it rehabilitated or is it just like to stay overnight kind of place?
There's a need for more rehabilitation, more affordable housing. Um, yeah, that's what's leading to the crisis. Like more and more people are getting priced out of reasonable, affordable housing. It's like suddenly you need to look up some kind of special website that has affordable housing to find something in that $1,200 bracket. And it's like, okay, you don't want to pay much for rent. Go live Jane and Finch, right?
Yeah, and you see then it goes like then that goes into another issue because you don't want to pay too much, but then you risk yourself being in an area that has a high crime rate. So there's like always give and take. So it's like it's kind of sucks, but honestly, I think it's just a big issue. It's not like a small thing, and it's been going on for a while. And this COVID kind of like just highlighted it. You know what I mean? And I kind of feel like I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the drugs that are out there now on the streets and the market, black market and everything, they're stronger now, and the people are mixing it with other drugs, and that's why there's so many like overdoses and stuff, right?
Fentanyl has been like has done a lot of damage in society in general. Like that drug has killed so many people. It's like anything else, they'll sooner suffer from withdrawal, right? But it's
Yeah,
just like that fentanyl garbage is just oh man, it's so bad. It's so bad, and it's like crack in the sense that it's cheap, right? People can pay with laundry change to go and get their hit.
and it doesn't take much for someone to overdose on that. I heard apparently
Yeah,
it's like just a little bit, and you can die.
yeah, and that's the other thing, man. Like if you're an unscrupulous dealer, I figure you know what you're dealing drugs to homeless people. Who knows who's saying that that's all they're stopping, right? Like a lot of
Yeah,
them, they could be, what's known as stepping on it, which is basically just grinding up the drug, mixing it with some other stuff that who knows if it's good for us, and selling that, right?
exactly. At the end of the day, it's just about making money, affecting the people who are using it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a big issue, right? Because it's like the way to stop that is to like you gotta get the drugs off the street, right? Which is easier said than done. But it's also like you said, like we were talking about with Maurice and the previous episodes. He was talking about like the housing issue as well, right? Like you were talking about. It's like there's not enough services for these people, and a lot of people are being left on the side, right? And then because they're being left on the side and forgotten about, they just get the issues that they have aren't being dealt with, and they're just falling into a deeper hole. And then you just see what these people out in society, right? And people get attacked and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like it's a very, very different ball game. Even if you're a 9 to 5er, you work nights, you work weekends, whatever, compared to like being a street person, that's like some next level.
Totally different life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a totally different life, totally different priorities, and it's basically constantly in survival mode.
I'll be honest, man, I've never felt that. I don't know, I can't relate to that.
Yeah.
To be in survival mode all the time like that, that's a sad mentality, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
But they have no choice.
yeah, that's their reality, right? That's the reality that they're living in. And that's why I think the best thing to do in that situation, even somebody from me in my position of like in the ecosystem that is whatever social services, Toronto housing, I've talked to a lot of people in a lot of different levels, and it's just like, you know what? Best thing to do is get them out of the system, man. Get them housed, get them help. You know, everything else they can work on as they go. But for us, it's definitely housing first. Get them an apartment, get them a room, get them a home, right?
Then they can go from there. Start building.
Yeah, yeah. We start building up their capacity. We have follow-up workers coming in and visiting the site just to see how the living conditions are, how the environment is, you know?
You, personally speaking, as someone who's works in that kind of like sector, right? What do you see are the biggest issues in terms of that? In terms of like drugs, addiction, mental health? Like, is it what we've been discussing, or is it worse than people are saying? Is it like just about like, does the news portray how bad it is, or is it like undershown? You know what I mean? Or is it about right?
I think it's about right. I honestly think it's about right. I mean, there's obviously more that doesn't get reported, but overall, you know, there's more and more, like the ones you see on the news, those are usually top level, like providers, fabricators, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So the biggest solutions that you see is just like, is it working with these people individually, or getting them as a group and working with them collectively, and like, or is it like starting out from grassroots, like fundamental? Like, what's the biggest solution for this long term, you think?
Individually, ideally there would be an investment into certain services that give that intensive support to somebody that's transitioning, to somebody that's having a hard time, that can go to all these places like the shelters to come and visit the guys and check in, right? And also just housing, man. Housing needs to be more affordable, because the thing is, a lot of
That's a big problem, man.
Toronto's social services, they're centralized. So it's like, where are you going to live if all of your doctors, all of your appointments, all of your meds, they're all downtown?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like, and I'm not talking about like going to get a prescription for your Tylenol 3. I mean like going to see your specialist, going to see your therapist, going to see whoever, right? And like, these are the people I think, if we can catch them earlier, like get them assessed quickly, give them attention, we can get them out of that shelter. Because it will improve their medical health.
Right?
But yeah, man, that's what I think would be the way forward. Just more investment into affordable housing, social housing, um, maybe re-examine how things are done in terms of like the LTB. Just check up on them, the landlord tenant board. Maybe review the Landlord Tenancy Act just to see if there's any ways that we can help out the tenant a little more. Although right now, it's on a tangent, it is a buyer's market.
Yeah, you know what? I think, like, in my opinion, I think it's just like, it's like you were saying, right? Like, making sure you're dealing with everyone on an individual basis and their situation, because everyone's situation is different, and making sure people don't fall through the cracks, getting them the services they need, and, just basically giving a crap, right? Not to use other terms, right? Like, about the person's life, right? About like this, like they're a human being, right? And they deserve to have a life that's worth living.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. Whether you're doing a front line, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a teacher, I find that all these professions, what they have in common is you gotta be prepared to give unconditionally, right? Some guy like may be a jerk with me, I'm still gonna give him his sandwich. I'm gonna still give him food. That doesn't mean he's gonna stop eating. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stop caring. Like, yeah, he may yell at me, "Oh, why are you making me stand up? Oh, I don't like you." Blah 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 blah. Right? But it's just like, listen, it's not personal, man. And if you want to talk, I'd be more than happy to talk. Right? Because like the other thing I've noticed is a lot of these people, they're not armed with the adaptability or with the tools to be able to adapt to life, right?
Yeah, life skills.
Yeah, and it can be life skills like negotiating, like de-escalating, like emotional management. Yeah, emotional management, composure, right? Like I feel composure is the stuff that comes from being able to manage emotions or just having like I guess it could be coined like emotional education. To know, what, I feel this, I'm going to think this, and this is going to happen. Right?
Exactly. That's even tough for even regular people that apparently, quote unquote, don't have anything wrong with them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about like emotional outbursts, anger management. That's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, even a lot of like, quote unquote, normal people don't have that under control, So imagine those people, even less so, right? Especially if they're under the influence all the time of something.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's levels of functionality, I suppose. Like whether you're addicted or this or that, or just you have a lot of stress, right?
That could be it too. It's also kind of like I feel so. For your situation, like how you're dealing with these people, you're saying that you have to give them what they're like a sandwich or drinks, even though how they act with you, right?
Yeah.
Is there a point where like it becomes like a limit, or like doesn't matter what they do or say, or is like how do you see that?
The only time it'll escalate to that is when they become a danger, actual harm to themselves or others. And I'm very, very particular. I'm very particular on choosing when to act on when somebody's just inconveniencing to when they're having a psychotic break.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's one thing if some guy, he just wants to talk to himself. It's like, okay, he's going to keep to himself. Or if he wants to do a handstand, it's like, okay, just don't hurt anybody.
Exactly.
Right?
Because then you need to, and then other people have to intervene, right? Once that happens.
Yeah, and it gets a little trickier because, like, in my profession, in that specific location, they do have a strict hands-off policy.
Yeah.
So if anything were to happen, we just need to call the police. Like, only to evade or, like, protect ourselves.
De-escalate.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, if they're ready to fight, then we're already too late.
Yeah.
So
I'd say it was too late for that guy on the subway yesterday. He was ready to fight.
oh man, who knows what he's going through, man? He probably just got kicked out of his place or whatever. Who knows?
Exactly. But like for me, what was interesting was just like he kept yelling cocaine and crack, right? So it's like, but who knows? He could be just saying that just to like, cause like attention or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something else I was going to say was, do you think like that the law enforcement and everybody like that is handling mental health well? Do you think the politicians in the city are handling it well? Like, and also, do you think like this once this COVID situation is improves over time, will that help like the situation, or does it all really depend?
COVID has. I know that it seems like they're under stress because like they're displacing people in hotels and this and that, but honestly, being on the front line, it's improved overall quality of service, quality of living for the people that work there and live there, right? So maybe this is the new normal. We're not meant to have super shelters. We're not meant to have shelters that can house 600 men.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've been doing this for 6 years and it doesn't work. You need smaller shelters where you can have and build meaningful relationships with the clients, and they're not just numbers.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of work can you do if it's one staff for every 100 clients?
No, somebody's gonna get lost. You're not gonna give it attention to like somebody, You're gonna like it's just not enough people, right, to deal with everyone.
Yeah, because to be honest, typically the average night before COVID, we were on an average of 96% occupancy every night.
Wow, every night. Wow.
Every night. So
That's
it's like,
else, man.
and it's unfortunate that it becomes political, because it's just like, well, wouldn't the solution be to build more of these shelters? But the question is where, because
exactly.
they like to congregate.
Some of the places where they have all these condos. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think if anything, a great start would be to have a facility with a place specifically for smoking. Right? Whether it's tobacco or cannabis. Everything that's legal. Right?
Yeah. So, in the 6 years that you've been working there, do you see how do you see the situation? Is it slowly improving? Is it evolving? Is it getting worse? Like, what are your thoughts?
I see an improvement. It's just, it depends where one goes, but I find in like not-for-profits, it's a lot of waiting. It's a lot of waiting for funding or this project or that project to go through and get approved and whatever. Right?
Right.
Like somebody there that's been there for like double, triple the time that I've worked there, they're like, oh yeah, I had to wait 5 years to get a water fountain installed. I'm like, stop it.
Oh my gosh.
Stop these lies.
Yeah. You could just see right through that.
But it wasn't a lie.
That's the sad part, though. Many times, because you think it's like, that sounds so unbelievable, right? But then you just realize what these people are actually going through,
Yeah, and that's why I felt like, you know what? I gave it a go, and I tried to tackle some issues that I saw all at once. I was like, you know what? If I get access to a position that's a little higher up the chain, where I can make decisions without having to ask like 3 different managers, then I'd be down. Just turns out the position wasn't such a good fit for me.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Did I ever tell you the story? I went and I was union chair for 1 year, for a whole term for my whole unit.
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. There were some cool stuff, but the majority was just like, it wasn't my cup of tea, man. It was a pain in the ass.
Sometimes things don't seem what they are, right?
Yeah.
Until you get to it.
And the thing is, it wasn't a difficult job. What made it difficult was just, a lot of people had a lot of expectations of change on me all of a sudden. Because, yeah, it was quite a bit of pressure, and there was dealing with like certain people that didn't know about boundaries.
Yeah.
Like they would call me any time of the day or night to ask me a question.
Not good.
They're like, "Oh, but it's your job." I'm like, "Job, job. Can you show me my job description for this volunteer position?"
I hate when people say that. It's your job. Like, you don't know your job. Like, they know your job better than you do. You
But
know what I
like,
mean?
it was fun. It was fun. I got to go to conferences and chat with some really cool people that have been on like higher levels in the industry, like counselors, program developers, directors, people like that, and it was an amazing experience.
Wow.
Right? I got to go to a political rally. I saw a lot of politicians there. I'm sure you recognize the name Judy Squirrel.
Yep. I've heard that name.
She was there for sure, and there were a bunch of other like MPPs and stuff like that, and they were all talking to us since we're all like unionists, and they were saying like, you tell us what helps. So it was a great chat. It was a great chat. We got to talk about different topics or issues that different industries have, unionized industries, I guess, right?
What do you think about the, like, sometimes I feel like that what goes wrong in terms of like just about the mental health aspect overall, it's just that like when law enforcement and police come and like they get calls to go to these places where they are dealing with someone that has mental health issues or is like addicted to drugs or something, I kind of feel like they treat the person as if it was just a common criminal and they don't think about what that person may be going through or like how to deal with the situation without maybe harming that person. You know what I mean? Because there's so many cases that like where the police comes and that person ends up dying or they get seriously injured because the police was scared, right? Or of harm coming onto themselves, so they harm that person, right? Without like calling somebody else to come and try to deal with this mental patient, right? That and maybe they're not even aware what they're doing.
Oh, are
Do you think
you
the
alluding
situation is like,
to Sami Yatim?
yeah, do you think that situation is getting better or is it like
I
still needs
really think it's getting better because it's getting filmed, it's getting caught, and they have
it's
no
going
choice
viral?
but to adapt. And I've seen that they've adapted quite well. Because in my day to day, we'll have a couple calls for the cops a couple times, but
Yeah.
they always come ready to talk to them and like super nice and gentle, and they give them a chance to like get their shit or whatever and leave peacefully, right? Even
So you
then,
don't see the shoot first mentality in them.
no. I think
That's good.
that's a lot of social media and personal opinion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Cause like
What do you think?
the training that I see from these guys is stellar, man. There's people really trying to like get arrested, and they just like, okay, let's go, come on, and then if they have to like cuff them and take them, then they'll do that. But it's always like, okay, they're always
Peaceful.
gonna go for calmness. Or if it's like really bad and somebody's just having a break and nobody can get near them, then that's where we would call the MCIT,
Yeah.
the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team, and just tell them what's happening. And they've been really good. They've been super good. They get there in like 5 minutes.
Wow. So it's like it's been very helpful, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think if anything, there are services and systems out there. People just need to like find them and use them, and to be able to see, like, or just to know what number to call, right?
Yep.
Because a lot of the time, if you just call the police to remove somebody, all they're gonna do is probably give the guy a break, drive him a block, and throw him out the car and be on their way.
Exactly. And then pretty much much not dealing with anything with that person, right? Just trying to avoid the situation.
Yeah, because I've seen it. Like, I don't know if they actually take them to the station, unless it's like something really bad, to get them processed, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we'll kick somebody out, cops go and they take them and whatever, and then like they're back in the evening.
Wow.
They're like back for dinner, man.
So nothing was accomplished.
Well, I mean, a lot was accomplished, in the sense that like they got to see that, okay, there's a consequence to me acting out.
Yeah,
Right?
true. So it's like it might be like a deterrent, I guess, for the next time.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I honestly wish I could film it, because so many people are so fast to shit on the cops. Like, oh, police brutality, look at American television. It's the same here. No.
It's not.
And people just need to relax a lot. Because, like, yes, there are injustices. I guess it's just better hidden. But
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
yeah, like racism here is a whole different flavor, you know?
It's more subtle.
I mean, a lot of the time it's also like people will just stranger danger you by default. They're like, oh, I don't know you. It's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? Another one of the things about living here is just that like we're really influenced a lot by what happens in America, right? United States.
Yeah.
So if something bad is happening there or there's some issue here, someone will automatically try to look for that issue here and say, oh, it's try to equate it to that, right? Meanwhile, it's a very, although we're neighbors, it's very different, right? Like our culture and their culture, and just the way they think, and the way what's happening there and what's happening here, it's not the same, even though we speak the same language. You know what I mean? It's very different.
Yeah, and like knowing this country's history, the people that I see at the protests are the people that I expect, because it's reflective of who's being oppressed, right? And I really like that BLM just split that wide open for us in Canada as well, because it turned into this opportunity for the natives to speak up. You know, that's been our dirty secret for a long time.
That's a whole other issue, man.
Right?
They've been oppressed here for a very long time, but it's kind of like they're I would say they're Canada's forgotten society, you know, or like not forgotten, but they're not like there's not as much attention put on them as I feel there should be, you know, in terms of their issues and what they go through as a people.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a whole other ball of wax, man. But
yeah, man. Hoping for the best, man, and let's hope that the mental health improves and people take it seriously. And I guess everyone can do their part, right? By looking after one another, even if it's not your family or friends, or just be kind to one another, right? I guess that's what the main thing would be.
yeah, you know, and not just on Bell Let's Talk Day. You know, we gotta make it a lifestyle to like make it our default, in the sense of give everyone a chance to piss you off before you're pissed off.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on from there, Vic, a bit just to end off here.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole like cryptocurrency craze right now, man?
Volatile. It's interesting to put like a little bit just to play with. Like I did try investing. I think I showed you some stuff about Coinbase.
Yeah.
The margins are really, really small, unless you're going to like an actual like crypto banker or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Which are about a dime a dozen on Instagram currently.
There's so many of them.
Forex changed my life.
You know what it is, man. The product it's scary for people, because there's actually people falling for a lot of these things, and like they're not like these people aren't financial advisors, but they're putting all their money in these things, and like they're losing. You know what I mean? Put it this way, man. For me personally, this is what I think about it, man. It's a risk, like anything, right? If you're putting your money in that business and this stock and this currency, whatever, it's a risk, right? If you're willing to to take that risk, good on you. But like, I mean, you gotta know that you have a chance to lose that. So maybe put only what you can afford to lose. You know what I mean? Some people are really, really falling for it and taking out loans and putting stuff here and like. I'm not saying people can't get lucky because there's people that have gotten rich off of these things as well. But like, you gotta know like what you can handle. You know what I mean? Some people can't handle like the prices going up and down. Like they want more balance, right? More stability in their life or with their investments.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel like whoever wants to invest might as well just like speak to a financial planner. Because I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
I think pretty soon, maybe later this year, I'll be in a position to start putting cash away, be it for either investing in like stocks, bonds, whatever. I already have like an RSP going. Uh, but yeah, man, it's good to get all that shit started. Even if you're putting in pennies or dollars a day, whatever, just it's always good to invest.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like there's a misconception that people have that they think they have to have a large amount to invest, but it's not the case at all. You can put like whatever little bit you have, like change, and like add it up eventually, and just put that in there. Put it in wherever you think it will grow, or wherever you think it will benefit you later on. You know.
Oh
But
yeah.
in terms of like the crypto, man, like it's like you said, it's extremely volatile. People have to be careful. Don't be falling for all these IG experts, you know what I'm saying? Like or YouTube experts. Follow your own advice and the people who you trust around you. Do your own research, you know? Because there's so many people that are like, oh look, like you said, in the comments are like, oh yeah, DM me and like I've seen so many stories. This guy was like, yeah, I DM'd this guy and I ended up with no money. Later on. How did that happen? I don't know. Do you know who that is that you were talking to, or did he sell you on something and you bought it? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man. We all got to think about our futures, you know. But the thing is, I feel like our generation, like younger generation, is like being more affected at it because we're the ones that use like social media, more technology. Older people are just like, yeah, I'll take whatever it goes, you know.
Yeah.
I'll take whatever I have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like even now, you know, internet business is bigger than ever.
Yep, for sure. Like there's less places that you need to physically be there, you know.
Yeah.
Now to work.
Yeah, like you see that cookie place?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It was awesome, and they don't need much space. You know, they do their thing, they bake their cookies, and they do well, man.
What was it again? It was Craig's Cookies or something?
Yeah, man, that's what it was.
Shout out to Craig's Cookies on Church near Wellesley. Personal shout out for Matt right here. You get more people to go to that place. Good cookies, good coffee. But yeah, man. Anything else you would like to add, Vic?
No, I think I'm good, and this is good timing. We're right about reaching the end of our time here. So thank you to everybody out there that has tuned in or listened or is following. And if you're not, please follow, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Matt, you got 10 seconds.
Yeah, follow like what Victor said pretty much. And we appreciate all our fans. Until next time, tune in.
Peace.